Hey, what's going on, everybody? Bitcoin, crypto made it back to the retracement levels, just like I was saying all throughout in here, this bottoming area. It looked like either it was going to be a fourth wave and a fifth wave to the downside. I said if it got too big, it's most likely going to go back to the retracement levels. And that's exactly what happened. So if we put the retracement on, we pinpoint nailed the 702, like perfectly. So we hit the retracement levels and now we're getting rejected. That's normal, right? So yeah, everything that we talked about is playing out perfectly. So now we're at the retracement levels. This is where it gets very tricky because now it's like, okay, remember what I always say, we got point A, we got point B, and now, this is easy, this is easy, this is hard because it's either going to go up or it's going to go down. Which one's it going to be? How can I help the situation? Well, I'll give you the options here. This is either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that's an A. And then we have this three-way move up. That's a B. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. That would be a C. So basically, idea number one is that this is an ABC, right? And we just hit the retracement levels, and now we're going to come back down and retest some of these lower areas around that 57, 58K area. We landed at 60K, but it might not be enough. We might have to come down and take the low, get everybody more bearish, right? And if we did that, it would be a beautiful three-way move. So, we could even argue that this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So we have a 5-wave leg up, right? So that would be a 1 and a 2 if we got something like that. So that is idea number one, and this would be a 1 with an expanded flat for 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That's very, very bullish if this is a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup, right? That would be extremely bullish. We come down here, we hit that trend line, we go up. So that's the idea right there. So how do we know if that idea is going to play? Well, we just have to wait. We'd have to see how this thing comes down, or maybe we hit the high. If I zoom in, I'm going to show you the bullish idea in a second. If we zoom in, this could be a flat right here, which it wasn't because we continued at the high, right? I mean, it could still technically be, but we would need another wave to the upside. So it'd be A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, right? That's one way to look at it. Not my favorite, but it is what it is. The other idea is to say that this is a rise, a crash, and now we have a retracement. What comes next? We go down into reaccumulation. We basically come down and we reaccumulate. We sort of just, go sideways. And then we break out, right? Maybe we hit the high first and then we reaccumulate up here. It really depends. Have to go, pretty deep into the smaller time frames to kind of see. So far, that's two ideas, right? ABC or reaccumulation. The other idea is to say, well, this is just, a 1, a 2, because look at that. That's a beautiful three-way pullback, right? You can see that, right? I mean, I don't like this wave structure here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we had an ABC, right? ABC, and then we have a what? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that, perfect, right? And then it actually came up, we had a three-way pullback, and it came up, it took the high, and we got rejected there, right? So that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And now we're coming down. So what we could see here is this could be an A, this could be a B, and now we're getting C, A, B, C. But it kind of seems a little bit tight, which makes me feel like it's probably not finished, maybe the B wave. So we have 3 down, right? We have, this could turn into a B wave like that, before we go down. So boom, 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 something like that. We're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out in here. If we can hold this area. If we break that area, then this B wave is finished and we're coming down in wave C, A, B, C. Right? So then what I would do is that from there, if we come back up and we get rejected here, that would be an interesting place to take a short, potentially. Keep your stop maybe pretty close. If we start flagging out in here, that's different because then we would break up. But if we get violently rejected, we come down, then it's going to look like to me that obviously this wave is finished and that was a retrace. But here's the thing. Waves can turn into more complex waves. For example, you know, this could come down like we have 1, 2, 3, right? So we could come down 1, 2, 3, right? And then we can go back up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, or 3, right? This could be 3 or 5. So W, X, Y, or A, B, C. And it becomes a more complicated wave. So then what that would be, right? What that would be is a sort of a complex B wave, right? So instead of this being B, the whole thing is B. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A. And then we go up in a 3-wave move up here, and then we get a B. And then we can either go into reaccumulation, go higher, or into a C wave, then go higher. See, that's really what it's about, right? And trying to navigate through that, it could be challenging. So what I like to do is sort of wait and see what the retracement levels are going to be, right? So decisions, trading in retracement levels is always challenging and very risky. So that's if we're like, for example, for me, I would take a trade if we had 5 waves down, which we almost did, right? I mean, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then we start building a base. That's a good spot, right? Because we've already had a lot of selling pressure. This would be a good spot to buy. And then let's say we go up for a B. Well, I have my stop loss down here, right? So if we have to come down, then, I can break even, or I can even put my stop loss higher and make it trailing. I'd call a trailing stop loss, right? So these are some of the things I talk about in the members video. I try to get 2 member videos a month. So I will most likely get one this week. There was not too much going on last week, except for this big dump and the SEC appeal, right? And I say that sarcastically. So I want to jump into that, and I want to talk about a little bit of, kind of the strategy. If you're more of a kind of like, if you're more, up close and personal with the day-to-day price action versus like someone who's, they buy, they hodl, they don't really care if it kind of goes up and down and throughout the week. But for a lot of people, they want to know and they want to see like, okay, what would you do here? And even if it's not relevant, it's still a good learning experience, because then you can apply the same sort of, ideas and tactics, strategies to other scenarios that might come up in the future for you. So if you want to check that out, you just click join where you hit the subscribe button and become a member. Try it out for a month, and if you don't like it, just cancel it. No big deal. But if you want to really support the channel, being a member is great, but just hitting the like button also helps out too. Anyway, so those are kind of our options here. Again, retracement levels are always tricky. What I will say though is, if we can get this wave a little bit higher, right? So if this kind of flags out and breaks the high, then I'm going to be like, okay, now we got a 5-wave move here, kind of, sort of, right? I mean, if really this wave needs to get a little bit higher for a 3rd, then pull back, then get the 5th wave. And then from there, what I would look for is an ABC, right? I would look for an ABC, because that would be sort of a 1 and a 2 of that third wave that we would potentially get, right? So that's another way retracement levels can go, is getting up here and then flagging out. But we'll know, right? It's still very early. We're going to know what type of structure, right? So it's going to take probably between now and the end of the week to really figure out what this is doing. Now, it could happen a lot faster as well. So that's Bitcoin. Again, those are the few ideas. A, B, C, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout, or popping the high, getting a fifth wave, then flagging out, then breaking out, right? Or this can turn into a more complex B wave and then get the C wave. Or it can be a complex B wave, we can go to reaccumulation, then break out. See what I mean? There's a lot of things. And you say, well, how is that helpful to me? That doesn't help me if there's all these different... Well, that's the beauty of technical analysis, right? It's all about probable outcomes. So then you can say, well, what's the more probable outcome? Well, the more probable outcome is what we have in front of our face, which is what? We have 5 down and 3 up, which means what? We're probably going to come down. I mean, that's at a higher probability. Now, if we come down in 3, right, then we might come back up in 3. But we have to see how it goes down. That's why, TA, we can only see what's in front of us. But as time goes on, we can see more structure and we get more of an edge of what's going on. But likely it's probably going to come down. But if it comes down in 3, then I would look for another, possibly a bigger 3-way move like that, then come down later. But if we can break through the 6786 and the 702, then I'm going to be thinking differently. But right now we're getting rejected, which is normal. So anyways, hopefully that kind of helps. So then you could say, well, what would you do in this situation? Do absolutely nothing. Just wait. Just let it work itself out. Number one, I wouldn't buy here because you're in the retracement levels and you have a 3-wave move. That's number one. Number two, I would be more inclined to sell and have a short, but I would want to wait for a little bit more confirmation, because we could just be consolidating here, right? For example, let's zoom in to like the 10-minute chart, and this looks like it could be 3, it could be an A, a B, and then we could be getting a C like this, like an expanded flat. So we would have this ABC, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have another ABC. So what I would do is if we do that, and then we come back up in 3, and it comes back up correctively, that's when I would take the short right there. But if we come up impulsively and then we flag out, I would consider taking a long. So we just got to wait. But anyways, that's what I got there for Bitcoin. For XRP, well, it's very corrective. I mean, you can see it's extremely corrective. So likely this trend is going to break, and it's probably going to break any second. You can see it's dumping right now. The daily chart, you could see we're going to close in 3 hours, and we sort of have this rejection candle here, but it's kind of good because we're sort of in the same vicinity. We didn't like pop the high or anything. We're still kind of just building a base down here. So I would just wait and let this base get more mature, because it could still be a 4th wave, right? And same with Bitcoin too. For example, we have 1, 2, 3, right? And this could be 4, and now we're going to get 5. And then we get divergence between the 3rd and the 5th, And that's where I would say, okay, let's long it right down there. Now, if I wanted to go long on XRP right now, I would have to wait for a clear entry, and I don't have one. Now, you could say that this is a diag, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, but it's very ugly and it doesn't look right to me. It just proportionality, it doesn't look right. What it looks more like is it's a corrective bear flag. See, if I flip it upside down, we have this impulse to the upside and we're sort of just trailing down. Usually when that happens, you break to the upside, which is really the downside, right? But then the same thing when we look at Bitcoin, right? When you go to the 3-day chart, this whole thing is a bull flag, right? So maybe we have to come down again, challenge some of these lows before we break out. But either way, I think that's most likely going to happen is this is a fourth wave and we're going to get a fifth wave. Or this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. We come down, we break the low, then we get the fourth wave. W, X, Y. Okay. Let me take all that off so we can see it a little better. So we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3 back down, and then go. If we break down and then we come up, we get rejected, then I'm going to be looking for reaccumulation, which is going to take at least another 6 months. So that's why I'm saying we're at an inflection point. I know I said that last month and even probably in July, but you know what? Fourth waves, when you think they're almost done, sometimes they drag out a lot, right? I mean, we've been here since March. So how many days is that since the top here? Well, the bottom was about 150, 145. But where we are now, we're going on 200 days, guys. We've been consolidating for the last 207 days. I mean, that's a long time. I mean, that's more than a half a year. What is it? 365 days in a year. So that's almost what, 7-8 months there, right? So, but yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Man, I took my profit too early on this one. Look at that. I mean, I sold, like, I think it was right in here. And then I woke up this morning but you know what? That just, it happens, right? I'm not going to risk it, especially for a meme coin. We had a pretty extended wave. I made some money. I took my profit, but then it continued rolling. But the worst thing you can do is, okay, I'm going to get back in. But I might have made a stupid mistake, and this thing could have been going, right, just going completely insane. But here's the problem with that. Hindsight is always 20/20, right? And the psychology behind it is quite interesting, because if you sell and then it goes higher, that's okay. But if you sell and then you try to chase it back, that is not a good thing. But then if you don't chase it back and it goes up even more, and then it goes up more and more and more, then the worst thing is you're just going to feel like a big idiot. But at the end of the day, I would rather be safe than sorry, because these meme coins, they go up very fast, but they come down just as fast, if not faster. So, so anyway, back to XRP. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. Now, what else could be going on here? Well, if the bottom is in, then I want to see a counter wave to this wave, because this whole thing is one wave. So I want to see it break down, challenge these lows, and then maybe go back up. And then we get 1, 2, 3 waves, right? And if this wave can get more impulsive, then I can look at a 4 and a 5. But if it stops somewhere, gets rejected somewhere in here, and then we start going back down, then it's going to look like a three-wave move that needs to either take the low or maybe go into some kind of more reaccumulation. So it's kind of early to tell right now, but on the face of it, it looks a little bit bearish short term. I would just keep an eye on this trend line, and I think the trend already broke. I think it's breaking right now. Look at that. It's breaking right now. So, I mean, you can adjust it too, right? You can just do wick to wick or bodies, but that trend line is most likely going to break. Sometimes you can get fake outs, but I just have to look at the wave structure, and the wave structure I see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It got that diag look, but if that's the case, then what do I want to see? I want to see an ABC. I want to see it flag out in here before we go higher, right? If we kind of just consolidate and go flat for a while, then it might offer another setup, but we have to wait for that. So that's about it for XRP. Now, the main idea for XRP on the larger time frames is very simple. Now that we've had this dump, right? So what I think is going on here is I think this is a flat, right? Before I said this is a 3, 3, 3. That's a WXY running flat, and that's a 5-wave move. But that was wrong because we had this big dump, right? And we didn't get that 3-wave pullback. Well, I wouldn't say it was wrong. I would say it was invalidated because of this wave, right? We had the setup. It was just invalidated. So now you can say, well, that's bad. No, that's good. If it's invalidated, at least it tells us that, we should be looking somewhere else. And where I'm looking now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, same thing, right? We have 3 down, same thing. But instead of 3 back up, it's actually 1, 2, 3 back up. It's much more complicated, right? So we have 3 down, 3 up, and now what comes next? 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're probably going to get 5. And that becomes an A, B, C. That is a flat right there. So we have a 1 and a 2. And now we're about to rip to the upside. So that's my main idea for XRP. Now here's the kicker. Here's the issue. Is the C leg, right? So does it end here? Does it end here? Does it end here? That's the problem, right? That's where we have to really stay vigilant on it. So I would watch this trend line. Whoops. I mean, I think that trend line already got hit. Yeah, we're kind of bouncing off it a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if we break it and grab that liquidity, then take it up. So a flat pattern. There you go. So another idea is less likely, but what this could be is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 1, and now this is a 2. And then we have a 1, and look at this. We have an A, B, C. We have a 2. So we have a 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, it might look a little bit strange, but it works. It's valid, right? In which case, we would see a mega third wave. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So those are the 2 bullish ideas. Now, if it's going to be bearish, it needs to prove that to me by what? Well, really, once this wave is finished, right? Let's say we come down and we have 5, right? We have the flat, and it looks like it's going to go up, but it goes up correctively, and then we start going back down again, and we start breaking the low. That's when I'm going to start looking at bearish ideas, okay? And what would the bearish idea be if that was the case? Well, it's kind of early to tell right now, but I would imagine if I zoom out a little bit more, yeah, it's still early to tell. But essentially, if this was a flat, right? Because really the idea is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have A, this is a B, and this is C. And this is a 1, and now we're flagging out for 2. that's the idea, and that's what I'm believing is it's going to be. But if this is a flat here, and that's a 1 and that's a 2, but I just don't understand that because I don't understand what's happening here, so I can't see the bearish side yet. But if we start, breaking, here's the big thing that we, to simplify it, is going to the 4-day chart, take everything off the screen. The big way is if we start breaking below 47 cents. If we start breaking below this range, that's when problems start happening, right? That's when it's going to be like, okay, well then this could be a 1 with a 2. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 1 with a 2, right? And then we have another 1, and this could be another 2. But I don't think so. And then we come back down. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we're just going to roll down and take out, or at least go back to the bottom, if not take that out before going up later on. So, they could reach a settlement before they even go to court, right, for the appeal stuff. Again, I think it's all bull crap. I think Trump's going to win. I think all of this is going to be wiped out. It might take some time, but I think, even if we had a bull run, I think XRP is still going to be participating in it. So we'll see, though. We'll see. I still looks very bullish to me, because you cannot deny this 3-wave move. Look how this is a 1-year long 3-wave move. Not only that, but we have an impulse. Not only that, but we have a 3-wave pullback. We're flagging out here. And look at that wick, right? And if we look at the bull market support band, I mean, we're sort of hanging on very smallly, but kind of like a, hanging by a thread there. But, I don't be surprised if we can have a bounce back up. But I want to see this flat play out. I want to see it finish. So that's kind of where I'm at on XRP. Let's go to Theta. So I'm really liking this one. We have this downward resistance line that I'm looking at, but essentially we have a 1, 2, right? Very bullish. 1, 2. We have a completed crashing structure for wave 2. 1, 2. And then we have 3, right? And then we have 4, and then 5. Or you can even say 3 is here, right? So we're building a base. It looks like it could be Wyckoff in here. So we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I think this is a bullish setup, and not just this one, but a lot of them that have been trending down. That seems like, I'm choosing this one because it's pretty new. A lot of times the new altcoins have the best bull runs versus the altcoins that already went on bull runs in previous cycles. So what's the short-term analysis saying? Well, to me, to me it looks like Wyckoff. So to me it looks like it's actually completed, depending how you put it. So for example, we have this move up, done. Move back down, that takes out this low. Same thing happened here. Move back down, takes out the low, right? And then we have this move up that doesn't take the high. Same thing here. We have the move up that doesn't take the high. And then what do we have? And then we sort of kind of cup around, right? And then we break out and we flag and go. So what do we do here? We cupped around, right? But then we got kind of rejected here. So it could be doing something like this, where we kind of break out. For example, hold on one second. Yeah, so right here, could be something like that, right? Where we kind of play around a little bit. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, we could say that this is our Wyckoff, boom, boom, and now we're sort of wrapping around, and then we break out later, right? Which would kind of match up something like Theta, for example. Actually, let me see if I could just put Theta on here. Yeah, so Theta looks more like, if it's going to be Wyckoff, right? It looks more like something like this, where here's your Wyckoff structure, right? So let me go back. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, is some type of Wyckoff scenario. But what about what's going on right now? Well, I like what I see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be A. This could be a three-way B. Maybe it gets a little bit higher, and then we get C. So a 1, A, B, C, 2. So 1, 2. Right? Just got to watch our lows down here and hold the low. And then flag out, which is really good. We want to flag out and then break out. And then the bull market support band wraps around. And then later on, you come down and test it, and then hold the test, and then continue rolling to the upside. So there you go. That's what I got for Theta. I think it's called Celestia or something like that. I don't know. But we got a shoulder here. We got a head, and it could be we get another shoulder here. We could be kind of flagging out a little bit here. Right, measured move, maybe $10. That's almost like, it's like a 2x from here. So, but what I really wanted to show you is the potential for a third wave, right? And that's always hard because they're so new. But if I put the retracement levels on, we're looking at a minimum of $31. So that's my target for this bull run, is $31. Now that's all contingent on a Bitcoin breakout. If Bitcoin has to go into reaccumulation, it's still going to be $31, and that would be about almost 500%. But this is a third wave, so a third wave isn't just going to go to the 1618. It's most likely going to go all the way up to the 4.236, and we're looking at a $70 move. If I put this on regular scale, you can kind of see the move happening here. So 1, 2, and then we get that mega third wave. So around that $60, $70 mark. Let me just go back down one more time. Yeah, so I would say about $61. And now, like, if it's going to pull like a Dogecoin or a Sheeb, right, I would flip that to log scale. And you could say, oh, that's not going to happen. Well, here's the thing. It hasn't really went on a bull run yet. It's a new coin, right? It hasn't really participated in anything. So if I put it on log scale, look at that, $64. So that's the 1618. So that's my target here for Theta, would be around that $65, $70 mark. Now, could it go higher? Yes, it can. It could get, now Dogecoin hit the 2.272. So that would be the equivalent of it hitting $204. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you know what? When you have a new asset that, you know, it could be a dud. It could be a complete zero dud, you know, so not financial advice. It could be totally wrong. But here's the thing. Anytime you have a wave one, that's pretty powerful. I mean, this thing only went up from the bottom here about 900%. That's not a lot. right? I mean, 900%. That's a big move, but not in the whole grand scheme of things, right? Now, if you look at like Algorand, coins like that, when its first leg, the first wave it went up, had a pretty significant move. You can see we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We had a completed 5-wave leg. But with Theta, we only have that first wave, right? And in crypto, when you get that 1, 2, and when you get that third wave, that's usually going to be one of your biggest waves, right? And a lot of times third waves go beyond the normal fib levels. So this thing could be going pretty exponentially if you want to know the truth. But got to do your own research and just play it safe. I feel like we're building a base. We're building a Wyckoff. This is the bottom of wave 2. And it's all going to be about, because this is point A, this is point B. What happens when we get to point C? Is it going to be like a big ABC, right? Is it going to go into reaccumulation? Are we going to flag out and go? There's a lot of things that can happen in the retracement levels that we still don't know yet. So that's why I don't feel comfortable giving you a set target until we get all that work past us. But anyway, that's Theta. So Axelar. Same thing with Axelar. Really, same thing. We have a very powerful wave 1. Boom. And then we came down in wave 2. We're building a base. So if I just put a retracement on here, I mean, we could be looking down at $9, right? And that's a pretty big number. Is this log scale? I think it is. Yeah, $9 would be a good target to have. And that would be about 1,300%. And that's very, that's minimum for a lot of these altcoins, right? I mean, 1,000% is not that, it's very common to see that. So let's see here. Like, for example, I mean, just look at Theta's wave 1. That's why I'm very bullish on Theta, because it had such a powerful bull run. But yeah, so for Theta, obviously we had that big dump last week, and then we had a retracement. So if we zoom in here, it's really going to be kind of the same thing, which is battling these retracement levels. So far, all I see is a move down and a 3-way move up, right? So either this is going to pull back, hit the high, it's going to pull back deeper, hit the high, and have that 3-wave shape, then go down into a 3-wave move like that. Or what would be better is to have more of a cupping sort of look to it, where we kind of, play around a little bit, but then we start to curl back up and have that cup look to it, right? So, point A, point B, and we're sort of in the middle of the retracement levels. So it's challenging at the moment. But when we zoom out, I still am very bullish because of not what happened over the couple of days, but what's been going on for the last several months, which is building this base down in here, right? So the base is looking better. The more time that goes by, the bigger the base gets. The bigger the base, right? The more sustainable things become when they eventually break out. So, but if you wanted to look at it bearishly, you could say that this is a 1, 2, 3-way move, right? So this could just be a pullback, and then this is a 1, 2, and we're going to get 3, 4, and 5. And then we come down and we break the low, right? I mean, that would be sort of worst case scenario. But if that happens, right? So let me try to fit everything in the screen here. If that happens, you would be a fool not to buy that dip, because at that point, you know, that would be in my opinion, a very good dollar cost average. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. Why? Because we've already got a completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll back up into 6, and then we have 7. Right? So typically what happens is we get back to the bull market support band and we flag out. It's going to feel like it's bearish, but it's actually just kind of dwindling down until it breaks out, right? And then you have that breakout. Now, if we impulse down, that's different, right? But so far we don't have evidence of that yet. So we'll just have to sit tight and wait. But that's about it. Now, if there's anyone that's going to break the low, it looks like Matic would, just because it's really, really crappy wave structure. I mean, you have these big threes, right? Impulse down, right? Another three-way pullback. It just seems like it's like in a descending triangle and it wants to die, or at least break the low. Now, it could be very fast. It could be like a liquidation and then a very fast reversal. So, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Now, for total, we're actually back above the bull market support band, which is good. We got some dojis here. I mean, you can see those doji candles. But essentially what we have is a three-wave move back into the retracement levels. Now, it's a little bit of a shallow retracement. I think that's about the 50. Let's see. Yeah, well, no, actually the 618. So we had a 618 retrace. We're sort of in that golden zone right below the 50. So definitely, I want to see how this corrects. Does it correct flagging out? Does it shoot down and three-way pullback, break the low and get resisted and then come down again? I mean, there's different ways it can go down. But if I'm not so helpful today, it's because, again, we're right in the retracement levels, and that's always a challenge, is figuring that out. But on the face of it, you have an impulse down and a three-way pullback. And that tells me we probably have more downside. What I would like to see is kind of like a three-wave move like this, right? If we had like, 1 second. If we had a nice shape that looked like this, that would be a nice buy, right? Give me a three-wave move here. And then we can talk about curling back up, right? And maybe another shoulder here. And the reason why is because we could look at it Wyckoff perspective. Boom, boom, boom. Something like that. So this is going to be a major area to break above. But what are we doing? We're going sideways, which is good, right? As long as we stay above this range, we're fine. So until then, we're just kind of trading the ranges. We're just going up and down, oscillating. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. I just wanted to show something on Dogecoin real quick. Just real quick, just to kind of, remember what we're looking at here. And I've shared this before, but this fractal is very intriguing to me, and I just wanted to share it again as a reminder. But you can see, right, this is Ethereum Classic, and let's actually kind of go down to, no, that's too much. Let's go down to maybe the 4-day chart here. There we go. So you can kind of see, and then for Doge, we'll do the 4-day as well. So this kind of so yeah, you could see all these areas here, right? I mean, we had the big run up, you know, the double top right in here, right? Then we kind of went back down into the channel. I mean, just pause the video and just look at it. I mean, you can see all the points very clearly, right? So that's kind of where we are right now. So let me just remove this. Let me remove that. And let's try to make this a little bigger. And you can see what Dogecoin did. We broke out, we back tested the top of this channel, and that's exactly what we're doing here with Ethereum Classic. So when we zoom in on that, you know, when we looked at Theta, when we looked at Doge or Theta, when we looked at a lot of other ones, right? This is the Wyckoff structure right in here, right? So once this thing is done building a base, maybe it has to hit the low again. We don't know yet. You can see right here we kind of did. So if we have to come down, so be it. But at the end of the day, you could see what happened after Dogecoin, right? I mean, that's when it just went absolutely insane with a mega bull run, right? So I'm not saying that's going to happen with Ethereum Classic, but it's got the shape, you know, to do it. So you can see right here, right? We had our top came down, went sideways, came down, went sideways, right? Then we had our big run up. And then this is where the fractal really gets started, right in there. So, man, I just can't get over how crazy this fractal looks. So anyway, there you go. That'll do it for this video. I'll check back in maybe tomorrow or sometime this week, and we'll see how our retracement is doing. We'll see if we're going into that C leg, and then we'll get more information. But when in doubt, zoom out. That's what we got to do, is just zoom out, because when we zoom out, you can see what's happening. I mean, you can clearly see this is taking some time, right? But at the end of the day, you know, the time's going to pass anyway, so you might as well be in crypto letting it pass, right? Now, with that being said, election, right? You got World War III. I mean, there's so many things that could happen that could totally smash the crypto price to the downside. So be very cautious of that. But if they did that, it's not going to last long. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Eventually, it's going to pop to the upside. So any event that brings crypto down is, in my opinion, a buying opportunity. But in really the way I look at it, we've been going down for quite some time here, and now we're kind of trading sideways. So the sellers have been exhausted, just like back over here. We started going sideways, back testing the top of this channel. Same thing. I mean, it's literally the same. So anyways, that'll do it. I will catch you guys on the next one.